All right, let's talk about something we've all been through, that dreaded clogged pipe. Today, we're going to walk through some really swift, super practical solutions to get those drains flowing freely again.
You know that sound, right? That slow, sad gurgle from the sink right after you've done the dishes? Or how about when you're in the shower and the water starts pooling up around your feet? Yep, that's the universal signal that, trouble is brewing down in the pipes.
And let's be real, it's so much more than just a sound, isn't it? It's a massive disruption to your whole day. It's a headache you just have to deal with, like right now.
And that's really the heart of it, right? Clogs, they don't exactly schedule an appointment. Nope, they just pop up, usually at the absolute worst time and throw your whole routine into chaos. But hey, the good news is you're definitely not alone in this, and there are some really clear steps you can take to fight back.
So what's your first move? Well, what's really interesting is that your first, and often most effective line of defense, probably doesn't come in a bottle. It's usually the simple mechanical tools you might already have just sitting around.
Okay, let's talk about the classic plunger, because honestly, technique is everything here. First thing, and this is so crucial, you have to create a tight seal. If you hear air escaping, guess what? You're losing all your power. Then, it's not about going crazy with wild, frantic plunging. No, it's all about firm, steady pushes. Your goal is to use both pressure and suction to break that clog loose.
All right, but what if you're dealing with a toilet? The plunger's just not cutting it. That's when you bring in the specialist, the toilet auger. Think of it like a long, flexible cable that's specifically designed to snake through the toilet's trap and just demolish a deep blockage, all without scratching up the porcelain. It's the right tool for the job.
Okay, so what happens when even the auger isn't working? Before you even think about reaching for one of those super harsh liquid chemicals, hold on. There's a much safer, much gentler approach that actually uses biology to do the dirty work for you. So this really breaks down your two main choices, right? On one hand, you've got the mechanical stuff. Plungers, augers. They're fast, they're great for solid, physical blockages. But on the other hand, you have these enzymatic cleaners. Now they're slower for sure, but they're literally designed to dissolve all that gross organic buildup. I'm talking grease, soap scum, and yeah, all that hair.
So, how do you use these things safely? Well, they're pretty cool actually. They use bacteria and enzymes to literally eat away at the clog. But you've got to follow the directions exactly because they need time to do their thing. And here's the most critical part, and I really can't stress this enough. Never, ever, ever mix different cleaners, especially not with bleach or ammonia. Seriously, doing that can create some incredibly toxic gases. It's just not worth the risk.
All right, so we've covered the DIY playbook, but, sometimes a clog isn't just a clog. Sometimes it's a symptom of a much, much bigger problem. So now we need to talk about the red flags, the warning signs that tell you it's time to put down the tools and call a pro.
And this is really the question you got to ask yourself. Is this just a simple, one-off pain in the neck, or is your plumbing system trying to send you a much more serious message?
And listen, these are the messages you absolutely cannot ignore. First off, if you smell sewage, that's a huge red flag. Game over. Call someone. Second, if multiple drains in your house are slow at the same time, the problem isn't just one sink. It's probably your main line. And this one's a biggie. If you flush a toilet and water gurgles up in your bathtub, yeah, you've got a major blockage. And of course, those clogs that just keep coming back no matter what you do, that's your pipes screaming for help.
Yeah, these symptoms aren't just random. They point to really serious, hidden problems. We're talking about things like tree roots literally crushing or growing into your sewer line, or a pipe that's collapsed somewhere underground. It could even be a blocked plumbing vent up on your roof. These are things you just can't fix with a plunger. They need a professional diagnosis, usually with a special sewer camera, just to figure out what's even going on.
Okay, so we've covered how to react when disaster strikes. But now, let's shift gears to the most powerful strategy of all, how to stop clogs from ever happening in the first place. Let's get into the proactive playbook. And this quote it nails it, right? Taking a few simple preventative steps is so much easier and way cheaper than dealing with all the stress and the mess of a nasty backup.
And check this out. This is just how simple prevention can be. Get a little mesh strainer. It'll be your best friend in the kitchen and the shower. Make it a habit to run hot water down the kitchen drain after you've cooked something heavy. But the number one single most important rule, never pour grease or oil down the sink. I mean it. Here's why. As that grease goes down and cools, it gets solid. It creates this sticky trap inside your pipes, and it basically acts like glue for every other piece of food and gunk that goes down.
Over time, that builds into a super stubborn blockage. See, these aren't hard chores, they're just simple habits to get into.
So let's end with this thought. The next time you hear that familiar gurgle, don't just think of it as another problem you have to fix. Think of it as a message. A slow drain isn't just an annoyance, it's your plumbing literally trying to tell you something. And if you listen to it, you can stop a small problem from turning into a huge, expensive disaster.